What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon and I am still waiting for my Satyr, and today we are talking about Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I actually read the sample of this a couple of months ago and I wasn't super into it. I thought that it started off kind of slow. I was really confused with where it was going and I wasn't sure if I wanted to read it when the book came out, but the cover is just so striking. I really love the Medusa legend, especially when it is updated to have a little bit more of like a feminine gaze look to it. And I also am a big fan of Alexandra Bracken. I like what she's done with Star Wars. I've been interested to read some of her other books as well. So ultimately, that kept me still invested. And oh my God, I am so glad that I still decided to read this book. And I know it's only like the middle of January, but I do think that this is going to be one of the best books I've read of the year. It's definitely on like one of my all-time favorite lists. I loved this book so much and I really can't recommend it enough. So Lore is set in modern times. We are in New York, and basically what's happening is kind of like a Greek mythology Hunger Games type of thing. We have these 9 gods who did something back in the ancient times that really angered Zeus. So as punishment, every 7 years for 7 days, they appear on Earth and they have to fight each other. And if a mortal kills them, then they become a new god. And this has been going on for like 200 cycles. And when we meet our main character, Lore, she is the last of her family line, and she thought that she was like out of it. She thought she was done with this life. She had moved on. There's a lot of trauma hinted at that happened there, but everything like changes for her when she finds the goddess Athena, one of the last remaining actual goddesses, bleeding out on her doorstep and begging for aid. So naturally, she kind of gets thrust back into everything. And I really loved how the story unfolded, because it starts off with like this fight scene where you really get to know Lore, and then suddenly this guy from her past pops back up, and then you go to the house and you see Athena there, and like things just keep ramping up and getting crazier as you get more information. And I loved that. There are so many secrets in this book that I feel like Alexandra Bracken just paced out and revealed so perfectly, and I just really loved that. I think my favorite thing about this book was the relationship between Lore and Athena. Like in this world, you really can't trust the gods. They're very brutal. They don't really have, like mankind is like the forefront of their brain. So you don't really know if you can trust Athena. You don't really know what she's doing throughout all of this. But Lore is somebody who has had a lot of trauma done to her. Like she found her family like brutally murdered. She has had lots of trauma that has been done to her since then. And to be thrust back into this life, like clearly she's very angry, and clearly she doesn't know like what to do with her power. She doesn't know what to do with like, do I want to be part of this anymore? Like what even is happening with her? And I feel like Athena is such a good foil for her. There's this amazing thing that happens like later in the book that I don't want to spoil, but they kind of talk through a lot of things, and it's, Lore gets to get out of a lot of her anger. And I really love the dialogue that they have and the conversation that they have. It just made me feel so good. And like, let me just say, as somebody who, I mentioned this before, I really like the Medusa story, but I like it when it has more of a feminine twist. The story of Medusa is that Medusa was sexually abused, sexually assaulted by Poseidon in Athena's temple, and Athena punished Medusa for it by turning her into a gorgon, which, the snake-haired lady, everything like that, and then her gaze would turn men into stone. I like when you put a different take on it, a different feminine take on it, and say that Athena wasn't punishing Medusa, she was giving her power, and that is a direction that the book kind of goes in, and I really loved that. It was really cool to see, and I just feel like Lore as a character gets so much time, she gets so much development, she is so complex, and it just really spoke to me. I could probably talk on and on about Lore, but I really don't want to spoil it for anybody because I think it was just so well done, the way it was paced, the way things get revealed to you. I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy. It ends kind of like on an interesting note, so I don't know if there's going to be more books or if it's just a standalone. If it's just a standalone, I think it works really well. I think it's pretty obvious that I'm giving this book an A+. I really recommend it. It's definitely more new adult than it is YA. I will give a warning, there is a lot of of graphic violence in this book. Not a lot of like action-y fight scenes, but when there are fighting, like it is very graphically described. So like if that's not your cup of tea, then obviously this might be one to miss. It's definitely more violent than like Percy Jackson mythology, I will put it that way. But I really enjoyed it, and I really, really recommend checking this book out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you can talk books with me every week. That is everything I got for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.